10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
Manchester
1,
United have
0.
reached the promised land.
Yes, how are we doing, everybody? Look at that, bit colourful today. Got my Dutch shirt on. Big up to Fred for sending me that. Had to represent, right? And we're here to talk transfers. As you can see, it's a transfer-heavy colour scheme. It's a transfer-heavy show. We're talking about Jurrien Timber. No, Jurrien Timber is not on the verge of joining from Manchester. Some seriously sensationalist headlines going out. Manchester United are definitely 100% interested in a move for Jurrien Timber, but the deal isn't on the edge of being completed. Oh, this, oh, that. Calm down. I'm going to bring you the actual news this morning. As I say, I tried to represent it, the news as best I can. But how are we all doing? I'm going to talk about Jurrien Timber. We're going to talk about Pau Torres. We're going to talk about Aurelien Tchouameni, Calvin Phillips, Conrad Lema, Anthony Martial, Marcus Rashford, Mike Phelan, Paul Mitchell. It really is going to be a very, very busy show. Plenty of compliments coming in for the top. As I said, Fred, thank you very much for sending me this. And I love a bit of retro. I love a bit of Holland. Who doesn't like Holland? It's a great country. Who's down here in the comments? Let me have a look. Craig, nice to see you there, my friend. Al, I can see you there as well. Nick, Jake, Sashi, nice to see you there too. Chris, Nick, other Nick, two Nicks. Peter, Reggio, Asan, Josh, Lewis, lots and lots of you down here in the comments. How are we all doing this morning? It's going to be a busy summer. We know that. I've said that. I've said it a million times, and I will continue to say it a million times. And it's not only just because it's going to be busy for Manchester United, but it's the intensity in every transfer window cranks up another notch. And this summer's going to be absolutely no different. You would have seen my video I did yesterday. I said, look, Ten Hag needs 200 million this summer. He needs it because of everything that's going on, because of where City and Liverpool are. And I'll run through that in a bit more detail this morning. But here we are talking about Jurrien Timber first and foremost. I'm going to dive into the news now. We'll run through it. You can see, look, the overlays down there. If you haven't already joined the community, there's a giveaway this month, the big 250k giveaway. I'm just literally giving away 250 quid cash. I thought it was the smartest and simplest way of giving back to you. So if you'd like to enter that, all you've got to do is join our new community on Telegram. The link will be in the description. You can use that QR code there as well. Come across. There's a lot of you that have already joined, and I can't wait until we make it bigger and better. And Fred, thank you very much for sending this in, my friend. It looks great. I like it. But let's take a look at the Timber news. Now, you would have seen my video that I did a while ago on sort of my dream summer. And I had Jurrien Timber down as probably the centre-back that I would choose to sign. This is what Fabrizio Romano said last night on the situation. He said, Manchester United had discussed Jurrien Timber again internally in the last 48 hours. Timber's name alongside Pau Torres was also mentioned in the first meeting between Man United and Ten Hag. More to follow as Man United will decide on the next steps. This isn't a case of Jurrien Timber's agreed terms with Manchester United. Jurrien Timber, a deal is on the verge of being done. Oh my God, it's not. People, it's just not true. It's just not true at the moment, all right? I know that some like to go with sensationalist headlines to get in there first. But I'm going to try it across the summer. Hey, I might be guilty of it sometimes. I'm not going to say I'm innocent at all. But I'm going to try and bring the facts where possible. And with this Timber story, there's no doubt that Manchester United and Erik Ten Hag want Jurrien Timber. And if you've watched Ajax this season, look, I'm not going to say that I've watched every Ajax game because I haven't. But I've watched like the last, 7 or 8 full games. Jurrien Timber, he's a very good player. Now, people might point towards his height being an issue, but I don't think it will be. Cool, it might be a weakness of his game, but shit. It's a weakness of Victor Lindelof's game, and he's what, 6'1", 6'2"? Height doesn't mean everything. It's all about athleticism, not just literally height. So I think it's a foolish way to just try and rule Jurrien Timber out. Now, so this tweet was sent out the other day by Jurrien Timber, a word from me to Ajax, and people were like, oh, man, look at that. That's Jurrien Timber saying goodbye to Ajax. It's done. It's dusted. No, it's just him saying thank you to Ajax because, they just won the title. And again, I'm not going to be saying that that's proof that Timber is leaving. I know it's just the way the transfer window goes these days because everything's covered to like the minute detail. Every single conversation that happens, the agents leak it to the press and they leak it to journalists. it almost feels like you follow every single element of every single transfer these days. And there's no doubt that Manchester United fans, we want Jurrien Timber. Now, the good thing is that I would say about Jurrien Timber is haven't really seen him being linked too much with anywhere else. Bayern Munich, they've been linked because they're buying quite seemingly the whole Ajax team. They got Mazraoui on a free transfer. They're going to get Gravenberch as well. They have been linked with a move for Haller, and they have been linked with a move for Timber. But I think Timber, for me, strikes me as one of the men that Erik Ten Hag wants the most. What do you think about this in the comments? Because genuinely, I see lots down here. Timber is average as a centre-back, says Cass. I've watched, as I said, I've watched quite a lot of Ajax's last few games, and Timber stands out because he's not just a centre-back. And again, that's a big reason why Erik Ten Hag will want him. Because look, if we're going to head over to the tactics board, we know what probably one of the biggest fundamental problems we've had inside this team for a long, long time is playing out from the back with the ball. And that's not necessarily just down to Maguire and Varane. That's also down to our two midfielders who sit in front of them, whether they're able to receive the ball from here. But we know full well that Manchester United have simply no ability at the moment to play out from the back with the ball. Whether it's squared to Maguire, to Dalot, back to Maguire, to Varane, De Gea, I'm just going to fucking hoof it. Whether it's to Shaw and then he gets squared up, tries to pass to Fred, back to Varane, back to De Gea, he boots it. Manchester United have a complete and utter inability to play out from the back with the ball. So that is a big, big issue, right? That we need to resolve. And that is an issue that, in my opinion, cannot be resolved in our current squad. Rafael Varane, I think he can and will do and will play that, but it has to be everybody around him. Let me go down here and see what you're thinking about. Valencia, you're saying that Timber is still young. He can be one of the best centre-backs in United in 2-3 years. Can't say I've seen too much of him, says Anthony, but I've heard great things about him. Phil, you're saying hopefully Ten Hag has his final say in who he wants rather than playing fantasy football where players are just handed to managers. That will definitely change this summer. I can say that with real confidence. Manoy was saying, are we sure that Timber will be the centre-back with us? I think he used a lot on the right. He is a versatile player. He can play as right back, and no doubt he probably would be used. And look, there's comments like that that just blow my mind. How do you know Timber's not another Maguire? I mean, what do you mean? How do you know any player isn't another version of a shit player? What kind of outrageous question is that? It's down to Manchester United to do their scouting properly, to do their profiling properly. And if Timber is on that list, he is there for a specific set of reasons based on a lot of research and based on the fact that Erik Ten Hag is coming in as our manager. And it's not just lazy journalism, just linking an ex-Ajax player to our club because it's easy, right? Timber, if you're looking at the weaknesses of our game, if you're looking at the fundamentals of Erik Ten Hag's game, somebody like Timber, and that's exactly why we're seeing stories like this. So this is the Pau Torres situation. The Pau Torres situation at this moment in time, we haven't heard too much on it. But there's a reason Pau Torres is being linked with Manchester United. There is a reason Jurrien Timber is being linked with Manchester United. It's because they are two ball-playing centre-backs whose real strengths lie in possession, whose real strengths lie in build-up play at the same time as being good defenders, and the blend of that. And that's why Jurrien Timber is probably one of the top names on our list. Simply put, Manchester United will absolutely fail next season under Erik Ten Hag unless we build a new ability to play out from the back with the ball. If we do not do that, it will be a catastrophic failure. I'm telling you, that's not going to be a guessing game. If we cannot build a new ability to have possession-based build-ups, when you watch Manchester United under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, for a long, long time, we haven't been able to play out from the back with the ball. And any time we did build attacks, we built attacks by kicking it long, quick transitions, going from the back to the front very quickly, 1, 2, 3 passes, boom, using the pace to run in behind. That's where the best Manchester United have been, right? people. If you can't see the profile of Jurrien Timber and Pau Torres and understanding exactly why those two players are linked, then you really don't understand Erik ten Hag's style of play and what he's going to be doing. Because it's quite clear and yeah, it's obvious we've got a plan, and it's quite obvious the targets we are going for and the reasons we are going after them too. Now look, I'm sure we'd love someone like Yapstam, but that's not the centre back we're going to sign this summer. We're not going to sign a Vidic or a Stam. That's not going to happen. We will, if we sign a centre back, it will be a ball playing centre back. I suppose the player that we all hoped Erik Bailly would be, but injuries have curtailed that. We need to sort of draw a line in the sand and say that didn't work out. Victor Lindelof, another centre back we signed as a ball playing progressive centre back. Somebody who I do think is a decent centre back. Somebody who I do think will actually be okay under Erik ten Hag, but ultimately somebody who hasn't lived up to expectations. Harry Maguire was brought in as this defensive leader. I'll be honest, I think our style of play has exposed his weaknesses. I'll be completely honest in saying the fact that we have no midfield makes Maguire look like a worse player than he is. And the fact that we do need to shore up that midfield at the same time as us signing that ball-playing centre-back. They're all as important as each other. Thormar, that is a hell of a name you've got going on there. I'm not going to try and pronounce all that. Where are you watching from? Haldor. That's a wicked name, by the way. Jeez. Let me know where you're watching from. And you're saying I could see a Torres-Varane partnership, Timber at right back. Now, that could easily happen, but I don't think that Manchester United will be spending that much on centre-backs this summer. I think our pure focus are going to be towards the midfield and a striker with a set. And that's what I don't understand. What's your gut instinct telling you, right? You can let me know in the comments, right? Type the position. What position do you think United will make their first signing in? Because obviously we're linked at this moment in time. The Timber and the Torres talks are the main talk of the town, right? Not really particularly talking about central midfielders, even though you know what my priority would be. We're not really talking about strikers. So what position do you think we'll make our first signing in? I was watching the whole way from Reykjavik in Iceland. I was supposed to go there on a geography school trip once. Couldn't afford it. But I'd love to go to Iceland. I'd love to go to Scandinavia. I haven't visited that side of the world. Be amazing. Ian, happy birthday to you, my friend. 48th birthday, I think you said it was there. Let me go down and see what you think. Ricky, you think it'll be a right back? I don't think we'll actually sign a right back this summer. If we do, it's going to be somebody who's a bit younger. Peter, you think it's going to be a central defensive midfielder? Kelechi, you're going for a centre back. You're saying a DM. Let's see what else we're saying down here. Centre back, right back, midfield. Klein, you're right. It has to be a central defensive midfielder. And Chris, you're going as strong as saying 99% certain. I'm not 99% certain. Centre back, what we need, a DM. By the looks of things, as it stands, centre back is going to be our first signing. A little bit unexpected, but maybe that's because that's a transfer. And if we're being completely honest, this is an extremely straightforward transfer to do. No real negotiation is going to be needed other than paying the price. I mean, that's a bit of a dumb sentence, I suppose. No negotiations needed apart from paying the price. But yeah, Timber will want to join Manchester United. Edwin van der Sar and Ajax won't block Timber's move to Manchester United as long as we pay the fair price. And we don't particularly know what that is. I reckon in the region of 40 to 50, somewhere in that region. But yeah, it looks like centre-back may well be the signing that Erik ten Hag wants the most. And again, if you're looking at Manchester United's team, Manchester United's inherent weaknesses, and the fact that simply put, we cannot play out from the back with the ball. Anytime we have the ball in this situation, my head is in my hands. I'm just sitting there thinking, please don't fuck it up. Just please play it through. We're so easy to squeeze. We're so easy to press. We're so easy to make panic. And that's why we keep seeing these big links with Jurrien Timber, these links with Pau Torres. And that's why we will see Manchester United, I believe, sign a ball-playing centre-back this summer. As it stands, the latest on Jurrien Timber, come from Fabrizio here, is that Manchester United have, again, his name's cropped up in the last 48 hours, right? Erik ten Hag, he was unveiled on Monday. He had his first interview. Second part came out yesterday. I said I was going to do a video on it, but I'll be honest, I read through the interview and I didn't think there was too much in there that you hadn't already heard before. So I didn't really want to do a video just specifically on that second part of the interview. But we've got a few days now before Erik ten Hag heads away for a little break. It will all be about transfers. It has to be about transfers because that's what the next few weeks have to all be about. Vicky, nice to see you there. Thank you very much for Super Chat. You're saying if Henderson leaves and Lee Grant's contract expires, are we really going to rely on a fit Dave with Heaton, who hasn't played in the Premier League for 3 years? I'll be honest, Vicky, I think we will. I think that will probably be Manchester United's 1-2 next season is De Gea and Heaton. And if we can, then we might bring Sam Johnson in on a free transfer. I think he's available on a free as our third choice. There's no way you can keep Dean Henderson happy as a second choice anymore. We've made our bed. We've chosen De Gea. Therefore, we have to get rid of Dean Henderson. Whether that's on loan or a permanent deal, we won't know that yet just yet. I would completely and utterly disagree with this. The biggest weakness in this Manchester United team is not our lack of wingers. It is a weakness of this team. I have no doubt whatsoever. But the biggest weakness we know full well lies right there. And the second biggest weakness lies right there. Until Manchester United sort these two things out, there's no real point talking about the attack because we're just going to concede 3-4 goals every goddamn game. Alex, should stop doing a video a day. Actually, the season's over. Well, it's transfer season, and I'll always be here Monday to Friday. I'll always run through all the news. Leighton, you would love for us to sign a centre-back first. Look, John, you know full well that I think this. I've been screaming it for years now, for years and years, like to the point where I'm just bored of saying it, how important it is for Manchester United to sign a defensive midfielder. I think everybody's on the same wavelength now because you can't ignore it anymore. I don't think you could have ignored it last year, but we did ignore it last year. And we went and signed Jadon Sancho and Cristiano Ronaldo. Almost like signing wingers and strikers before you sort your midfield isn't going to sort this team out. It's obvious where the holes are in this team. And I think Erik ten Hag knows. I don't think Erik ten Hag knows that. He's far more intelligent than I am when it comes to football. Of course he knows that. That's why we're being linked so heavily with the likes of Timber, with the likes of Pau Torres, to create a new possession-based footballing team. It's simply not possible with the players inside this current squad. Klein, you're saying you're joining as a new member. You're just rejoining us here then, my buddy. Jake, what are you saying, sir? Sam, which signing that we are linked with are you excited about the most? If we do sign them, are you going to do another? Hell yeah. Yeah, sweet drink along. Which signing am I? I'll tell you what. I'm pretty damn excited about the idea of Jurrien Timber coming in. I'm also excited about the idea of De Jong, although my gut is telling me that De Jong won't happen. Let's see if that changes. I'd love for it to happen. What was it? Gerard Romero said it was 95% done. Maybe that's been reined in a little bit now. I'm not sure whether De Jong will leave Barca. It all depends on whether they can get money in without having to sell. But it's just, I mean, Fred, this is a very easy question. Yes, absolutely, Fred. Of course, he's got a future. He's going to be a brilliant player next season. Malps, yeah, it is a joke. It is a complete, and I would probably say it's negligent. It's beyond negligent now. The Manchester United still haven't got a defensive midfielder. And I'm actually going to be speaking about defensive midfielders next. I'm going to be speaking about Aurelien Tchouameni, about Conrad Lema, about Calvin Phillips, because there's updates on all three of them. It has to be one of the best usernames I've seen on YouTube. Karen took the kids. I'm sorry, mate. The Karen took the kids. Anyway, it's not laughing matter. What did you say here? So at a fundamental level, our scouting needs to be overhauled. What do United scouts actually do? Play FIFA and watch Champions League. We haven't found a gem in a decade or more. All our signings are basics. An excellent comment there. Thank you very much for sending that in, my friend. And I think I've spoken about this previously quite a lot. Obviously, Jim Lawler and Marcel Bout, they've both been sacked by the club. That's, in my opinion, a good step in the right direction for that. But we do need that. We do need to. We need to stop looking at RB Leipzig and looking at Borussia Dortmund and thinking, which of their players can we sign? And stepping it back a couple of years and going, what players are they signing a couple of years ago? How are they finding them? How are they signing them? Christopher Nkunku, perfect example. Bought for 13 million by Paul Mitchell. Now grown into an absolute top level Bundesliga's player of the year. Amadou Haidara has come through there. Conrad Lema is another name. There are tons and tons of names. Their scouts are great. This summer has to be where Manchester United not only sign the right players for this summer, but we get better at identifying players who in 18 months' time or so will be brilliant. Now, maybe at Manchester United, those sorts of players can't ever really get the amount of first-team football they need to do that amount of growth. That's a bit of a tricky situation. But the likes of Ronaldo, the likes of Rooney, the likes of Evra and Vidic, there are lots and lots of players that we've signed, younger players with real top-level talents that have blossomed into world-class stars at the club. And I personally think they've always been our best signings. I don't think, I know that United do not have a good track record of spending big on players and those players working out immediately. Robin van Persie is the best example of it working out. Signing the best striker in the league, he becomes the best striker in the league again. We win the league. That's after we lost the league on goal difference the year before. That has to change this summer. And you spot on there. So there's an excellent comment there. And also, as I said, an excellent username. Let me go down here and read a few of your comments out here before I move on. We're going to speak about Aurelien Tchouameni next. And you know what I think about him. We talk too much, says Sirius, when it comes to transfers. We don't get the right players. It's going to be a big thing this summer, whether our club really is and really has taken a direction switch. Whether we've turned a corner is how we act in this summer transfer window. Ricky, you're saying Ten Hag will want to see all the players training first, surely, before he decides exactly where he wants to improve and with who. He would have seen the games, but he needs to talk with... Now, I do agree with that, Ricky, but I don't think that's going to happen. Erik Ten Hag's already said that he is going to have a couple more meetings this week and then go on a break. He's already said that he's not actually going to meet his players until the start of the preseason. So maybe surprisingly, but not really, because the season's over. So training wouldn't be the same anyway. He wouldn't really be able to get a fair assessment. It's all going to be based on what Ralph Rangnick tells him, on what his coaches tell him, on what data he's been given, and on what he has watched. That's how he's going to make his decisions. It's not really going to be based on what he sees, because he's not really going to speak to the players until he comes back for preseason on 27th of June. Maybe a little bit of a surprise for some. But as I said, the season's done, so technically he wouldn't be able to see much in training anyway. Nick, you're saying, well, whoever Ten Hag wants, I want. My own opinion showed, especially this season, that I've been wrong about a lot of players. We need unity and change now. Man, Nick, I said that Aaron Wan-Bissaka was going to be the most improved player at Manchester United this year. What a spectacular, horrendous call that was. Yeah. What do I know? What do you know? What do any of us know? All we do know is we know where the problems lie. But we don't necessarily know exactly what the solutions to those problems are. And Manchester United haven't. That's why we've wasted $1 billion. And overlooked. Yeah, that's what I don't get. Even last summer, man. Like Jadon Sancho, love the guy, love the kid. I think he's a fantastic footballer. You're telling me our team, our season would have gone so much different had we spent 75 million on improving our midfield rather than spending 75 million on Jadon Sancho. Our season would have gone, no, actually, maybe not different because of Ronaldo, how many goals he scored, but just this negligence, this pure and utter ignorance. It's just like looking at the sexy players that's going to bring goals, attacking. Ooh, that's brilliant. Yeah, it's nice. But if you've got no engine in your car, it's not going to move. And that's why stuff like this, for example, right? This came out yesterday from Get French Football News that Aurelien Tchouameni is to join Real Madrid, 80 million euros plus bonuses. Now, maybe that's a little bit out of our price range, given what we need to do this summer. But Tchouameni, I'm just doing this, sort of scratching my head going, why is it that we haven't really, truly been linked with Tchouameni? Somebody who's that ball-winning, dominant force in midfield that could come in, protect that back four, sit next to somebody alongside him who is a deep, progressive playmaker, then you can start seeing this Erik Ten Hag system coming in. But look, already in Tchouameni. Look, as Chris says down here in the comments, Boubacar Kamara was on a free transfer. He wasn't a free transfer. He's gone to Aston Villa. United, not particularly linked with him. We were linked with him last summer, weren't we? We were linked with lots of midfielders last summer. We didn't make moves for any of them. Already in Tchouameni and Eduardo Camavinga, that Real Madrid midfield is cooking on gas. Absolutely cooking. They've perfectly replaced Kroos and Modric before Kroos and Modric have left. That's what a proper club does. That's what a club who's forward-thinking does. That's what United haven't really done. No point being linked with someone we can't afford. Yeah, Carl, that's what I said. 80 million. I can't particularly imagine that Manchester United would have paid that much for Tchouameni, given what we think the budget is. But yeah, look, maybe Tchouameni is out of our league. Maybe Tchouameni was only going to be going to a Champions League team. But there is one player we can definitely go after. And again, this one I find a bit confusing, that we're not particularly in for him. That's Konrad Laimer. This was Fabrizio Romano. This happened a while ago, right? This is the 8th of May. So this is 17 days ago. He was saying that Bayern Munich are preparing an opening bid of around 18 to 20 million euros for Konrad Laimer. Now, I've already done an interview, actually, with a lad called Adam Kahn, German football journalist and specialist, lives in Germany, really clued up on German football. I'm probably going to be releasing it on Friday, but I spoke to him in a little bit of depth about Konrad Laimer, and I said, look, for 20 million, it seems a bit strange that the Manchester United aren't particularly linked with the move to him, because for that price, look, you can talk about, look, Emmanuel saying Laimer is a double pivot player. We're going to be playing a double pivot. We are going to play 4-2-3-1. We are going to be playing with one ball-winning midfielder alongside a deep, progressive playmaker. It's the exact system that Ajax have had under Erik ten Hag for the last 4 years. Now, it's chopped and changed somewhat, but those two midfielders, whether it's Schürrle and De Jong, whether it's Gravenberch and Alvarez, they're two midfielders. You can pretty much confirm what the profile of those midfielders are going to be making. And if Manchester United are going to sit there and watch Konrad Laimer go for like 18, 20 million, that's for me, that seems odd. That seems a little bit more odd than the idea that we can. Tchouaméni was my number one, my dream midfield signing. Maybe we were never going to be able to get him for that price. The fact that he wanted Champions League football, Konrad Laimer, that's a name that's come up before. There's no doubt that Ralph Rangnick would probably have mentioned his name as well. Malps, you're saying Erik ten Hag loves the 4-2-3-1. It is. Erik ten Hag is a man that he's not system dependent. He's foundation dependent. And what I mean by that is that Erik ten Hag does have some sort of flexibility. You won't necessarily always see the team lining up in the 4-2-3, maybe in the starting 11, but players will move. Players will be dynamic. They'll drop in and cover each other. When you go progressive and you've got in possession going forward, the fullbacks will really push up. One of the midfielders will drop down into a back three alongside the two centre-backs. That's where the deeper lying playmaker goes. We've got to be better, man. We've got to be smart. And something like Konrad Laimer there, 18 to 20 million euros. Telling me that wouldn't be a smart signing. I don't know, man. Strikes me as that would be a very, very smart signing. And look, that's two midfielders we've spoken about. We've spoken there in quite a bit of depth about Jurrien Timber and Pau Torres. My gut is telling me that centre-back is probably going to be the first signing that Erik ten Hag wants to make. We won't know that until things start to develop. But the thing I would say, right, and the thing I really do expect, I expect there to be some actual genuine quick movement this year. We've got 4 weeks now until our pre-season starts, until Erik ten Hag is back at Carrington and the players turn up, the players that aren't away on international duty. 4 weeks of pure nothing but transfers to focus on. That's what these couple of days are for Erik ten Hag at Manchester. Speaking with John Murtough, speaking with the club, getting the targets, identifying everybody, and then it's down to John Murtough. And I tell you what, it looks like it's going to be down to John Murtough because, well, not that I ever thought realistically that we were going to get him in. It was a pipe dream. We know it was a pipe dream. But we had official confirmation yesterday from Monaco that Paul Mitchell will be staying at the club. So Paul Mitchell, he's staying on at Monaco as their sporting director. And he was actually speaking about Aurélien Tchouaméni this week. He was saying, look, if somebody wants to come in with an outrageous bid, then we'll talk. And Real Madrid paying 80 million, it's a pretty outrageous bid. But Paul Mitchell's not coming in. There's still more to happen. There's still more to go on behind the scenes at Manchester United. I'm going to speak about Mike Phelan in a minute. I'm going to speak about a new first-team coach. We all wanted Paul Mitchell to come in and sort of be the transfer guru. We all questioned whether he would come into our setup simply because he would be moving away from a sporting director role where he talks, the person he speaks to is the president, to working underneath John Murtough. It was always a position where, will he do it? Will he do it? No, he won't. He never really got massively linked. He was at Old Trafford. We were all excited. I was excited. I thought he could have been part of the triumvirate, this new holy trinity taking United forward of Murtough, ten Hag, and Mitchell with Rangnick on the side. But he's staying at the club. All right. It's a shame, but sort of expected. So I think I think it's going to be down. I think John Murtough really is taking on a lot of responsibility this summer. So be it on your head, John, man, if you manage to fuck it all up. If we're looking at success stories, I think that there's a lot of success behind the scenes at Manchester United in terms of the restructuring that's happened over the last few months, and that's all been under John Murtough's watch. But transfers are a different ball game altogether, and we've got to get it right. We cannot mess it up this summer. Let me read a few more of your comments out here, and I'll move on to the next conversation point. Viable solutions. You're saying Glazers only give a budget for transfers when we don't have Champions League football. Following year, put nothing into transfers will be the same as the last decade. We need at least 2 good summer transfer budgets. Now, I've already covered that previously, the Glazers strategy. There's been 2 times where they've broken that strategy. That was last year under Solskjaer when we finished second and we invested in Varane, Sancho and Ronaldo. And I think it was once under Mourinho. We have to see a new strategy starting from this year onwards. Otherwise, we're never going to close that gap. Milinkovic-Savic, Sandeep, I would probably put that right there. Exactly right. Everybody seems to be talking about Milinkovic-Savic this morning. Not this morning, this week. How are we putting a bid? No, we haven't put in a bid. We're considering putting in a bid. Man United are thinking about putting in a bid. And Milinkovic-Savic, if you look at him, he's not particularly a deep line playmaker. He's not particularly a ball-winning midfielder. He's more of an attacking midfielder than anything. So I'm not even sure he's exactly what we need. There's no doubt that he would come and improve that, but really? I don't know. I'm a bit confused, if I'm being completely honest, about the Milinkovic-Savic rumours. Maybe I haven't watched enough of him this season. Maybe I don't know enough about him. But for me, he strikes me as someone his strengths are far more in the opposition's half than they are in his own half. That's what I think so anyway. But look, let's see whether the Milinkovic-Savic stuff comes, because apparently he's coming back here. It's not the first time. And you're right there. It's more like a Gaetan Schneider at the moment than any transfer we're going to make. Now, another name that we've been linked with, and a name that I think we all knew that you could scratch off the list pretty much as soon as it was put on there, and that's Calvin Phillips. James Ducker from the Telegraph there saying that Calvin Phillips is going to be Man City's top target to replace Fernandinho. Now, remember when Paul Pogba was linked as replacing Fernandinho? That made me laugh. Couldn't think of 2 more polar opposite players. But Calvin Phillips, could very much see that happening to City. And Calvin Phillips, I think technically if we signed him alongside De Jong, it could have worked. But he is properly just nothing but a ball winner and then pass it to somebody else sort of player. He's not really, he would have been an okay signing. I think he would be a very good signing for City, because he's exactly what they need in replacing Fernandinho. But I think because of the Leeds connection, it strikes me, because he's Leeds born and bred, it's a little bit different to Rio Ferdinand. It's more comparable to the Alan Smith situation, but still, I think even more so because he's fat. Calvin Phillips, scratch it off the list. So you can scratch Calvin Phillips off the list. You can scratch, by the looks of it, Aurelien Tchouameni off the list. Conrad Lema, has he ever been on the list? For the life of me, I don't know what midfielders Manchester United are going after this summer. I think we can say with real confidence, Jurrien Timber and Pau Torres as the centre-backs that we're linked with, that we're interested in. You can understand the profile of the players. But midfielders, I'm just confused. Trunk, you left super chat down there saying that Tielemans seems to have gone cold. Tielemans getting linked with, of course, a move to Arsenal, 25 million, I think that is. But again, you're looking at the strengths of Youri Tielemans, more towards a number 8 than he is a number 6. He's more towards an attacking midfielder. He's played in the double pivot, of course, with Leicester, but there's obviously one player I'd love to sign. Ruben Neves. I don't think that Manchester United are going to be going after a 50, 60, 70 minute. I don't know how much Ruben Neves will be, but it will have the Premier League tax. It will have the Man United tax. Minimum 50 million. I would say probably more towards 60 million. I'm not too concerned about transfers at this moment in time, right? Concern's the wrong word. I'm not too worried. It's the 25th of May. All right? I know we all want to get it done early. But these things can take time. I think the fact that we've already got Erik ten Hag as our manager, he's already unveiled, that's a positive for the club. But I now want to see over the next 2 weeks for Manchester United to really go after what we need to go after. Luke, I completely agree with you here. The number 6 is everything is everything that is missing from the heart of this team. That's where, I'll be completely honest, I think I wish that was where not all of our focus, but the overwhelming majority of our focus was on that number 6 position. But it's either it isn't, or we're just spreading ourselves. Milinkovic-Savic, we link with him, as it's been saying in the comments there, he's more of a Pogba replacement. And if we're looking at Pogba replacements, but we've got Donny van der Beek coming through. He's not exactly going to be a Pogba replacement, but he's somebody who Manchester United can somewhat replace inside the squad with Van der Beek and Garner in terms of that overall position, and Hannibal coming through. No, we shouldn't be spending money there. There's bigger priorities than replacing Paul Pogba right now at the top of Manchester United's list. You mentioned Yves Bissouma down there in the comments. Again, the links with Bissouma, where have they been? You can talk about Ndidi. Look, I know Neves isn't a number 6, and maybe the idea of that number 6, we're not talking a number 6 as in a pure defensive midfielder. The profile of the player that I'm thinking of is Aurelien Tchouameni. Somebody who is that ball-winning midfielder. Somebody who does have that power to control the midfield. Somebody who also has excellent possession recycling. Just simple passes. Somebody who doesn't really lose possession. Always finds a teammate, whether it's backwards, whether it's sideways, whether it's a little dink around the corner. His main focus is on keeping the ball and winning the ball back. And you can have a little bit of ability going forward as a bonus. Great. That's what Tchouameni had. And then it's someone like De Jong alongside him, who is the deeper lying playmaker. There's somebody who can look up and really talk about progressing the ball forwards. That deeper lying playmaker, the quarterback, if you want to call it that. They're the 2 midfielders we need this summer. 2 distinctly different midfielders, not necessarily a number 6. Both central midfielders. We just, come on, man. I don't know what United are doing. Yeah, someone like Rice, I suppose, but cheaper, basically. Looks like you're new, by the way. I've just got you down. I've realized that. That's funny. Pay the same amount of Neves than for De Jong. That's crazy, but that is the Premier League tax. And look, Jeremiah saying, look, you've been right about the number. I don't know why United haven't done it. For the life of me, I don't know why they haven't done it. Because there's no fucking way that every single summer, last like 2-3 years, that we've gone into the summer and just nobody's mentioned the fact that we haven't got a midfield. It makes no sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. It comes down to poor scouting, the people who are in control, Ed Woodward, with the money. They've got their focus elsewhere. No, you know what we need? A new attacker. More goals. More threat going forward. That's what this United team. No, but this United team needs to be a goddamn team, first and foremost. And that's why we've been a bunch of individuals. We literally have just not been spending the money in the right places. Now, there really are so many talking points I'm still going to run through here this morning. But the one I wanted to mention here quickly before I do is exactly what we're talking about here. And that was a video that I did yesterday. I did this video on why Erik ten Hag needs £200 million this summer. And it's not just me putting figures out of my ass for no reason whatsoever. I compared our spending under Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in all 3 of their first years in charge. I've got the numbers up there for you. And I said, look, the reality is this. This came out yesterday. Tottenham Hotspur announcing that there's been a 150 million capital increase that's going to be allowed to be spent on improving the squad. Spurs, they finished 4. They've got Conte. Now, if they're going to back Conte as well, they're a real threat. Of course, they finished above us this year. Then we look at Chelsea. The government's confirmed it today. They've got the approval. Todd Boehly is going to be overtaking Chelsea and reports immediately that they are going to get a £200 million budget for Thomas Tuchel. They finished above us. Man City, they finished 35 points above us. Liverpool, they finished 34 points above us. So in reality, we've got to match the spending of those clubs simply to keep at the level we're at now. But we don't want to do that. We want to close that gap to City. We want to close that gap to Liverpool. So therefore, we're going to have to outspend our rivals. Not necessarily just outspend. About being smart. We know that. It's not, it always, spending the most doesn't always get you the most. And Jesus United are good at that. We are good at spending money incorrectly. But if you're looking at City and what they did, I think they spent 180, 190 million in Guardiola's first summer, and they spent 280 million plus in his second summer. And so many of those players are all still key, crucial players inside this City team, which has dominated for the last 4 to 5 years, right? It really is not without exaggeration that this summer, Manchester United, we've got to go big or go home because of how competitive the Premier League is. Once upon a time, I don't think Leicester will ever be repeated again, but it's obviously the example of a team, a plucky team that came through and all the moons aligned and it all worked perfectly. I don't think that'll happen again. The team that wins the Premier League will be spending big every single year. Asan, you're completely right as well. Newcastle this summer are going to whip it out and slam it on the table. How much do you want? Here's double that. They won't actually be doing that. Josh, do you think Conte will be leaving Spurs for the end of the coming season? Let's hope so. Let's hope that PSG want him to replace Pochettino and he says, Toodle pips, I'm off. But then Poch might come back to Spurs and might actually get some money. And Poch was a very good manager at Spurs. And had they backed him, he could have won the league. But they didn't. Maybe that'll change now. But this has to be, we've got to do it properly this summer, man. We've got to, please. As I said, it's not necessarily just about spending the most money, because United have spent the most money over the last 10 years. It's about spending it correctly. Whether it's Jurrien Timber, I think he will be an excellent signing. Whether it's Conrad Lema, whether it's Christopher Nkunku, we need to sign the right players in the key positions that we need to improve, right? That's what needs to happen. And it won't happen this summer if we give Erik Ten Hag 120 million and we expect him to work absolute goddamn miracles with this squad. I would say that would be possible if this team could play football at the moment. But we know, and I'm repeating what I said at the start of the video, we know full well we can't play out from the back there. We've got absolutely no midfield of any real quality there. So we've got so many big holes in this team that trying to plug that gap with 2 to 3 signings in total of 120, 130 million, it simply will not work. It is not possible. I do not think. Let me go down here and see what you're saying. Sell the crap and get money out of them. I completely agree with you there. You know that. And I've already kind of run through that. And that's where I hope that the 200 million will come from. I don't think he'll get 200 million up front, but I think it should be 200 million in total when you combine the budget plus what he should be getting from the sales as well. Danny's saying, I agree. There is still a small plus side. They've lost 20% of their wages. Talking about the squad. Sorry, I must have missed out on the part. What's Arsenal's budget for the summer? I don't know, and I don't care. What else are you saying down here in the comments? There was a comment there from Haldor. What are you saying, sir? Saying Chouameni from Monaco, Mikel Merino from Sociedad are interested in 22 and 25. Obviously, you know what I think about Chouameni. We've spoken about him quite a lot, and I've not particularly watched Mikel Merino, so I don't particularly know who he is. There is a very real possibility with only sign Timber and then a crap striker. No. Won't happen. Will not happen. Manchester United will be signing midfielders this summer. It's just who those midfielders are. I've got absolutely no idea. I've got no idea. Or look, maybe I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. But do you have as much confidence as I do that United will sign midfielders this summer? Type yes or no in the comments. Do you think I'm wrong in saying that? Maybe I'm coming in with too much confidence. I don't know. I don't think I am. Maybe you disagree with me. But look, there's more changes happening behind the scenes at Manchester United. This is from Chris Wheeler from the Daily Mail yesterday. Now, you might say, Sam, it's the Daily Mail. Why are you reading that? I'll say, look, Chris Wheeler, he's stepped up. He's definitely got some links. He's saying Mike Phelan will not be part of Erik Ten Hag's coaching staff. Neither will Sasha Lense. Neither will Chris Armas. It looks like Eric Ramsey's going to stay on. I think Martin Harris, is that his name? Martin Hartis, our goalkeeping coach, will stay on. No, I'm a little bit confused about that one. And he still wants to bring in one more first-team coach. So it looks like Mike Phelan, and he shouldn't have been part of it. As soon as Steve McLaren came in, that experienced head, you didn't need Mike Phelan and Steve McLaren. That's too many cooks spoil the broth. But it looks like Mike Phelan won't be part of it. And I know that will probably, a lot of you will want that. Anthony, you're saying we have to sign a midfielder if we want to keep up. Now, lots and lots of you down here, you're all saying this. You're all saying the same as me. Well, not all of you. You think we'll only sign one midfielder? I don't know. I'm going to come with my optimistic hat. I've got an optimistic hat. I don't know. I've got one now. I'm going to wear it for this summer. I just think this, with all the changes that have happened to our club behind the scenes over the last 7 or 8 months, there's so many positives. And I hope this summer can be that summer where we can sit there on the 1st or the 6th of August. Was it 6th of August the season starts? So maybe we'll still sign players after the season starts. On the 1st of September, we can sit there and go, you know what? That was the best summer I can remember our club having in a long, long time. I'll tell you what, I think a lot of us enjoyed last summer with Ronaldo, with Varane, with Sancho. But ultimately, we knew that we were Donut FC still didn't sort that bit in the middle. And that's why it's confusing me that we're seeing so many centre-back signings, so many different other signings apart from defensive midfielder and central midfielder. Frankie de Jong, obviously, we've seen that. We're going to have to see how it develops over the next week or two. I am expecting quick movement, if I'm being completely honest. And that will be the measure of whether or not we're starting to change this summer. If for the next 2 to 3 weeks, we're internal talks FC and nothing really progresses to the point of bidding for players, for starting official negotiations, and we spend the next 2 weeks just dillying and dallying, then maybe nothing will change. But I think we'll know by the start of pre-season whether this is going to be a very different summer for Manchester United or not. Because Erik ten Hag will want his new players with him for the start of pre-season if possible. And that's something that he will be reiterating to John Murtough time and time again. Asan is saying Murtough needs to look back at Woodward's failures and not make the same mistakes. All summer chasing Fabregas. Jeez. All summer chasing Fabregas. And then we signed Fellaini. That was painful. Robbie, I think this is a Holland 88 top. As I said, it was sent to me by Fred. Big up to you, Fred, for this, by the way. Lovely top. I do apologize. The colors were a little bit faded on it. I'm sorting out the camera today. Tomorrow, it's going to look vivid. It's going to look sexy. I'm going to even look like I have a slight tan, which is nice because I do have a slight tan. Have you considered the possibility that Ten Hag sees Timber as a progressive ball-winning midfielder? Now, technically, you can't rule that out, but let's not go square peg, round holes. Round peg, square holes? Square peg, round holes. He's either a centre-back or a right back. He's not a ball. Technically, he could be. Technically, he's only 20. Technically, you can probably grow him into that role. Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just sign him as a centre-back and use him as a centre-back as you've used him for the last few years? That wouldn't really make much sense. In my opinion, that wouldn't really make much sense. There's no number on the back of the jersey. I don't think so anyway. But look, yeah, it's nice. It's nice to support my new Dutch friend. Why not? Let's go down here and see. Look, as always, I try to answer as many of your questions that you send in as possible. So please fire your comments in. What I would say is please consider as well dropping a like on the video. Subscribe to United People's TV if you're new. And look, this is the giveaway I'm doing as my thank you to the whole community for us hitting 250,000 subscribers. I'm giving away 250 quid cash. I thought it was the easiest and most straightforward way. I could have done like kits or something like that, but maybe there's something you want to spend the money on. So all you got to do is join our community. If you use that QR code there, it will take you through to join the community over on Leveler. That will take you through to Telegram, and it's been brilliant. The community that's growing there straight away, it's amazing to see. Probably going to have to organize some meetups and some sort of stuff that happens next year. That'll be exciting. But yeah, I'd love it if you all join the community. Let's make it as great as we possibly can. Sigmund saying, Sam, don't you think it'll be a transitional season as far as agents and clients? They've been used to giving us giving silly contracts and paying over the odds for too long. I think that could stifle plans. Not necessarily, man, because we just have to start acting like a proper football club. I think players and agents, yeah, they will still look at United and go, they're mugs. We can rip them off. But they won't be able to. They shouldn't be able to. And maybe that will stop us getting players. But they knew that's how negotiations worked. That's why if Dortmund just sat there and went, no, 120 million or you're not getting him. They kind of messed up there because we ended up getting for like 72 million the season after. But I don't know. I hope that the United is smarter and better at it. Richard Arnold has talked about delegating. John Murtough is going to be the man tasked with doing that job. We don't have a new Matt Judge has been relieved of his duties, aka booted out of the building like he should have been, like Ed Woodward. John Murtough is going to be the man that leads this. And look, there's a comment there saying, look, not having a Mitchell-esque lead on transfers is bad. We've been here before, only for the manager to say he's happy with the squad after a poor summer. I'll be honest, I'm worried about it. I am worried about it. I think John Murtough has done some brilliant work, right? But if he thinks that he can go in and do that same level of quality and work and restructuring when it comes to football transfers, it's its own language. It has its own nuances. You need your contacts. It's a whole different job altogether. And if you can manage to do it, then I'll doff my hat to him. But it feels a risky thing for United to do. We've done things so well so far with the restructuring of the club. I wish that we had someone in like Paul Mitchell who could come in and just take that whole transfer side of thing and just make it his sole job. Too often we've had one person doing three people's jobs. And it makes it difficult when you don't have that clarity in each role. I don't know. I'm a bit worried about it. I'll be honest, I'm worried about it. Do we know if Radnick has gone on his break? I don't think so. But I don't quite know. Brooks, you're from Amsterdam. I'm going to come and visit you. I'm not really, but I love Amsterdam. I need to go there. I wanted to go there for the title celebrations, but I didn't realize that they were going to happen on the same night as the last game. I was kind of hoping it was going to be a parade the next week. Oh, well. I should just go to Amsterdam anyway. I'm from Amsterdam, and even though I wouldn't like to say it, but Anthony would be a really good fit for you guys. Anthony would be a fantastic fit. I think everybody is aware of that. But also, if we're looking at the grand scheme of Manchester United's requirements this summer, I think there's more important things than Anthony. Not that I'm saying Anthony's not a great player, but signing a pure, proper right winger, we need a versatile forward more than we need that. We need a central defensive midfielder more than we need that. We need a central midfielder playmaker more than we need that. We need a centre-back more than we need that. So Anthony, I would love to get Anthony. But I just think there's so much more that we need before we go anywhere near Anthony. Kieran, you're joining as a member. Let me know where you're watching from, my friend. Phil, at this moment in time, you're talking about Savic. You'll notice I haven't mentioned Savic once on this channel. You'll notice that I haven't gone with any sort of sensationalist headlines about Jurrien Timber and a deal being agreed or close. And it's these sorts of things that feed the frustration of United fans. How is it that we've not done a deal for Timber if we had already agreed it like a week ago? It's not the case. It's not the case. Things are moving. They're going behind the scenes. But the only truth that we have at this particular moment in time, coming from Fabrizio here, as I said, a man who's built up his own reputation, we're talking about Timber behind the scenes. Ten Hag is talking about Timber with the club. It's whether or not we can start now. Let's move on from it. Boom. Let's start getting that bid in. Let's start getting aggressive. United have got to go on the front foot very soon. Gungshi saying, I hope to God we don't start the new season with McFred in midfield and Maguire Lindelof. That will not happen. I can say with 100% confidence that will not happen. But where the changes will be, I haven't got any confidence at this moment in time in saying where those changes will be. I really, really don't. Chris, what are you saying, sir? The problem is there's three types of player from three different managers' philosophies, and they can't fit two transfer windows before we see results, in my opinion. I don't think it'll be two transfer windows until we see results, but it will be a slow progression. And that's why players like Van der Beek, and that's why the likes of De Jong and Timber would be so crucial in speeding up that process. Ten Hag will need generals inside that team, people that he can rely on to get his own ideas across. Because if he doesn't have that, he's going to have to do all his work on the training ground, and then on the pitch, the players are going to be like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I don't know what I'm doing. And that's why you're going to need players like Van der Beek and De Jong and Tim, people who are on the pitch can say, look, you go here, go there, can help lead and be captains on the pitch for the Ten Hag style of play. That's why they're so important, new signings to help embed this system properly. Let's go down here. Abby, you're watching in Ghana. Nice to see you there, my friend. And Sar watching from, I think, Sierra Leone. Nice to see you there. We should get Anthony, as we bought Sancho for the right last year. He's on the left. Steve, as I said, Anthony will be like fourth on the list of our new signings. And look, we should be getting tons of money in, right? Where is it? Where was that one? That one there. This came out yesterday. Sevilla president Anthony Martial will return to Man United. We spent important money on him, but it didn't work. Also, he had injuries, and we're not going to buy him on a permanent deal. Anthony Martial is not going back to Seville. Anthony Martial, you can talk about, Sam, it could work out with him. Maybe he'll become a new... Done. Dusted. Move on. Sell him. Let's move on. Same conversation I would have about Paul Pogba. I do not give a toss whether or not Paul Pogba or Anthony Martial might be new players at Manchester United. I'm done with it. Vamos. Fini. Move on. This has to be a summer where United just draw the line in the sand and say, that didn't work out. That didn't work out. That didn't work out. Let's start something new. That's what I think anyway. James watching from Qatar. I haven't got Qatar on the fabled map yet. Marcus Rashford would, of course, be part of it. Hell, I think I've run through everything here. This made me laugh. I have to mention this. Look, I know that United have been absolutely terrible this season. And I really, really shouldn't talk about the fact that Liverpool didn't win the league.
We're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it anyway.
Yeah, there's Barry. Because this made me laugh yesterday. Jurgen Klopp winning Premier League Manager of the Season, despite the fact that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer spent more time on top of the Premier League than Jurgen Klopp did. It's a bit weird. It's a bit odd. What did he want it? He's won it for putting pressure on Man City. Oh, well done. Well done. Really, really weird. And it goes to show you the loving that everybody has for Jurgen Klopp. He's so nice. He smiles. He's such a lovely person. Yeah, but he's not Premier League Manager of the Season. He didn't fucking win the thing. Weird. Odd. Had to say that. Don't care. I'm getting some serious pelters on Twitter for saying that. But look, I'm going to read a few more of your comments out here. And then I'll wrap this up for today. And then I'll get preparing. I'll get working on the video that's going out at lunchtime. But I think my gut is telling me there's going to be some serious movement over the next 2 weeks when it comes to transfers. I might be completely wrong. There's no in the know here. There's just me speaking out loud. And the way I'm seeing Manchester United act, the fact that Erik Ten Hag is in nice and early, it gives us an opportunity. We have to take advantage of it. Haaland's already gone to City. They're already talking, apparently, about Calvin Phillips coming in too. Chelsea have just got their new owners. They're about to crank things up. Spurs have announced they got 150 million to spend. That's from yesterday. Liverpool right now are distracted until hopefully they lose the Champions League final on the weekend. United have got to go quick. Got to go fast, man. Because if we don't and we wait too long, we might find ourselves in some serious traffic with everybody going after the same players. We've got to try and be smart here. Graham is saying, disagree. Martial could be the player we thought he was under Ten Hag. Even for 12 months, there's too many other players leaving. Not for me, Graham. Absolutely not for me. I don't want Martial back at the club. I'm done with it. He may well could be the player. I don't care about coulds anymore. Not all of them. Rashford could find his form again, but I'll give Rashford a chance. I'm not giving any minutes to Anthony Martial. I'm done with it. All right. Sandy, you're saying, think we will sign a progressive midfielder. Hopefully, Frankie de Jong. Well, fingers crossed, Dave. I don't know. I don't think we will. Unless Barcelona simply just can't get the money in, then he's ours to grab. He really is. And the CDM who is young and has raw potential. Look, James Garner, he's not a CDM when he comes back from loan. Don't know whether he'll come back on loan. He might actually go back to Nottingham Forest. We'll see that one. But look, again, I can't disagree with that anymore. Rashford didn't deserve a chance. People. It's amazing how quick people are to dismiss. Really is. But, everybody's entitled to have their own opinions on teams and how Manchester United should be acting. But look, this summer is everything, man. This summer is everything for the start of this new rebuild and this new era. If we can get it right this summer, we can get the players in, then Ten Hag will start off on the right foot. If we don't, we're just going to be chasing the tails of everybody again. And we're already 35 points behind City and already 34 points behind Liverpool. But look, thank you very much for joining in this morning. I will be here later on today. As always, with my video that goes out at lunchtime, I'll be here tomorrow morning. If you haven't joined the community already, follow that QR code. The link's also in the description on Facebook and YouTube. Join the community, man. I'd love to get you on there. Going to start doing more giveaways. Gave away a shirt yesterday, randomly. Why not? Gave it away to a member. That's going to be like members only giveaways and stuff like that for the time being. But thank you all for joining in, and I'll see you soon. Take it easy, everyone.